Okay. Okay, we are live again. So I'd like a motion to re-enter open session.
So moved.
Go ahead.
We have a motion by Jennifer,
Second.
second by Bill, to re-enter general session. We're going to do a roll call. Anita?
Here.
Lorna?
Here.
It's to approve re-entering general session. So, Bill?
Here.
I would be appropriate. Jennifer?
Aye.
Aye.
That's right. I'm not here. I'm just
Megan?
I'm online.
Aye.
Lou?
I
Steve? Aye. And Tanner, are you with us?
think we lost Tanner. I think you scared him. Gonna have to text him or something, let him know it's okay to come back.
Damien or someone, could you text Tanner and ask him to rejoin us? Okay, so we have a vote to re-enter general session. Item 4.0, as has been our practice, if we could do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag,
Aye.
United States of America, to the
And
republic,
to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty, and
liberty,
justice for all. Okay, thank you very much. Item 5.0, recognition and comments from the chair. Just a couple, just to be brief. I went to represented the board at graduation last weekend, and I know Lorna was there because she parked next to me. I don't know if others were either in the crowd or tried to follow it on the radio and have watched, but I was really very pleased with the flexibility and the willingness that our students and parents and friends who attended that graduation showed to let this event go off as successfully as it did. You know, people could have stood back and complained that, you know, it's not traditional. It doesn't look like it has for the last 10 or 15 years, but I didn't hear any of that comment. Everyone had a great time. There were some flyovers at the airport, a lot of good spirit, and I do want to congratulate Eric and his team at Morse for persevering, coming up with the idea and getting it through to fruition. So I know this has been a very busy end of the year for the community, for students, for faculty, for the administration. I think as Katie and Patrick will talk about in committee reports, we're continuing work with a committee that involves Lou, that we're all invited to join and observe as they work to develop a reopening plan. And that plan will come to the board sometime in July. So even though we typically have not had a July meeting, I just put you on notice that it's very likely we will have a meeting this coming month. So just bear that in mind. And that's about it for me. Item 6.0, we have 3 sets of minutes, and I'm going to suggest we take them all together. So I'd like to approve or any amendments to minutes from May 18th, June 1st, or the June 8th budget meeting. So do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a
move it.
motion. Okay, go ahead,
I'll
Lou.
second. No, go ahead. I'll second.
All right.
I have a motion by Lorna, second by Lou. Any corrections or amendments to those minutes? If not, Okay, all in favor? I'll call the roll. Anita,
Here.
still aye. Lorna,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Megan,
Aye.
Boo,
Aye.
Steve, aye. Tanner, have you joined us?
Aye. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, thanks, Tanner. Okay, that passes unanimously. Thanks. Item 7.0, adjustment to the agenda. Patrick, do we have any?
No, we don't.
No. Okay. Item 8.0, public session. We did not receive any comments by our cutoff of noon today. So there were no public comments. Item 9.0, committee reports. Patrick, 9.1, high school building project.
Yeah, we continue to remain on schedule, and I guess some highlights is just the furniture, equipment, and technology budget has been reviewed by all the administrators, and the bid documents, we reviewed those again this morning, and we will be submitting them to the Department of Education by the end of the week. And so then they take a look at it and will earmark any furniture, equipment, or technology that they feel is outside of their realm of funding. And then we would have to go back and revisit that list again. But it's a good feeling. At the same time, they told us how many pieces of furniture and equipment that we had, and it's daunting. And my response was, I hope we haven't forgotten anything. But this is just the first step, and then every time it comes back, probably 5 iterations, and we'll make sure that everything's in there. So the next thing we have completed is writing up a moving services RFP. So if everything goes as planned and we move in February, then we need to make sure that we have a moving company to move, help pack up the teachers and move their staff over to the new school. So proposals are due on July 27th, and then contract will be awarded on August 3rd. And there's a required site visit that the companies that are interested, that they have to come in July as well. Tours, we gave a lot of tours in the last week to Morse staff as well as vocational staff, and I think they were hopefully impressed with what they saw, and some of those people hadn't been in the building since the beam was raised, so it was very exciting for them. And again, any of you, we'll set up another one soon, but any of you that want to just come up for an individual tour, all you have to do is just email. And then just the usual things, continuation of windows. You saw probably on Kyler's backup, one thing that the staff really liked seeing was the skylights that were installed in the building, and especially the gymnasium, both gymnasiums. If it's a nice day out, they don't have to turn the lights on at all during the school day. And then just a lot of drywall and painting. So that third floor is getting to a point where most rooms are, getting their first coat of paint right now. So it's exciting, and things are, continue to go well. And again, we're hoping if everything's back to normal, we made our final decisions on the turf field, what will be stitched into that field. And that again should be ready by middle of August. So if we do have student athletes back practicing and competing, then they could use that athletic field as long as, we have precautions and rope it off, and they're not allowed in the school building. But it's another facility that students can use, and eventually, obviously, the community can as well. And that's it.
Thanks, Patrick. Any questions of Patrick?
I just have one. Patrick, has the art been selected already, or?
No, actually, I should have mentioned that, Jen. Thanks. It's they met from 2 to 5 today, and I don't sit on that committee, but Dave does, Dave Richards and Ron Lamar, and then we have our 2 teachers that sit on that. So my understanding was that they were 3 artists were presenting today, and that the group was going to be making a decision this evening. So I as soon as I know more, I'll send the board an email and let you know who was selected. And I'm sure the state, because they're funding it, they will put out a press release as well.
Do you know who was part of that group?
The people on the committee,
No,
Uh,
the three people.
I don't off the top of my head. I think I know one, but it wouldn't be accurate for me to say
Yeah.
that. Yeah. But I can get that information to you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions of Patrick? Patrick, just a question on the furniture. Most of what's in Morse, I shouldn't say most, but a portion of what's currently in the Morse facility is going to be recycled. I'll use that word, but it's going to be used by other schools. Is that right?
Yes. First refusal, so to speak, would be from our principals and teachers about what would they like in their buildings, what would be a good fit. And then we would, and then my thought process is that, then we would contact the towns and municipalities, ask them if there's anything that they would like to, that they could use. And then eventually, we would probably have a yard sale at some point, and then whatever we don't get rid of, free for the taking, and then to the dump eventually. So there's some things that we'll be taking that are, in really good shape, but we're not taking much.
Okay. And we're still optimistic that suppliers are going to be able to meet our requirements, right?
Yes, we had a vendor on the phone this morning as part of that furniture meeting, and maybe a 1 week delay from normal, but that's about it right now.
Okay. I think and you mentioned that several groups have, or you've offered tours to several groups over the last few weeks. I know we've talked in the past about getting our elected officials and representatives or group representing, or just putting the offer out to the alumni association and see how many show up. But
yeah, the three groups that we're thinking of doing in the next couple of weeks is elected officials, alumni, and then also the donors that gave money. Maybe donors. I don't want to leave anybody out, but we have people that gave bricks or did a plaque, and I guess we could open it up to everybody that somehow made a donation to the school. And if we get a lot of people, we would just have to split it up into 2 or 3 different tours.
Yeah.
So we'll probably accomplish. I mean, with July 4th coming up, I would say by end of July we should have those 3 groups offered, a tour that they could take advantage of.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Okay. Thanks. Item 9.2, the ad hoc distance learning committee update. Katie, are you taking the lead on this?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. So last time I quickly went through all the slides that were the outcome of the ad hoc distance learning committee. And there were 14 recommendations that the committee made after surveying the 3 pieces of our community: students, staff, and then families. And I know I shared that with you. It was in the board packet. And so I'd love to just share a couple of thoughts I have in addition, just moves we've already made to address some of that feedback as a district, and then answer any questions, have a discussion, whatever the group feels would be productive. So a lot of the feedback was around having a more consistent digital curriculum resources and assessment resources, not reinventing the wheel, making sure if you have multiple students across multiple grades, that it would be a lot sort of easier to identify what exactly people are using and not having teachers using a lot of different things. So, they're the ones having to do a ton of the research, and then the families are the ones trying to kind of keep up with everything that's being used. And so I have purchased for next year many different digital curricula from our CARES Act money that teachers already did professional development on during the June PD days. And so it covers math, social studies, science, and literacy. We also purchased IXL, which will replace NOEA for the year because NOEA is not something that can easily be done at home, and it would either take school days or we would have to skip it. And so those are some components we're moving towards implementing. Teachers will have a more lengthy training when they return to those 4 days in September with actual reps. This first professional development was more dip your toe in the water. They had sort of an outline they had to follow of what they needed to do to first explore the program. All ed techs are doing this. All teachers, actually pre-K to 8, did it as well, with the idea that we are not sure who's going to be helping with what responsibilities, depending on which design model of school we use. And so we wanted to make sure everybody felt prepared and prepped for that. We also are purchasing Brightspace, which is the learning management system that UMaine also chose. Dean and his crew did an excellent job of vetting a few options with the technology group and some others, having presentations done on that. And I'm really excited about this because essentially what this will do is, rather than families and teachers having to log into Google Classroom and Infinite Campus and all the different things, it's one portal that will hold students' grades, their Google Classroom documents, all of those things. So there'll just be one sign-in. All of the curriculum pieces I was just talking about will go right in that program as well. And so we didn't finish our selection process in time for teachers to do their training on that through the 2 weeks in June we had with them. And so we are going to open up some training for early adopters this summer and then have the official training in September with everybody. So those are two sort of exciting developments. Along with many of these systems, one of the pieces of feedback we received is that parents really wanted more training and support around how to use all of these things. And I made sure that there are many training videos that come with these that we'll be able to post within Brightspace so they can access them and learn about them as needed, which is great. In terms of the feedback and some of the recommendations on more accountability, we already have had all of the buildings go through these 14 recommendations and provide feedback ideas of how they would like to improve that. Patrick and I this next week will be reading through all these plans and then developing something that's sort of consistent across grade levels that we'll present to that other committee and then eventually present to you in July. But it will include attendance, grades, more time with teachers, and a similar weekly schedule, which were all pieces that we know that we wanted to improve before we even had this distance learning committee. But we weren't able to do so when we were sort of, building the plane as we were flying it, so to speak. One of the other things that came up in multiple recommendations was just ability to differentiate both curriculum and feedback to students, having more feedback from teachers and feedback not just to students but to parents. Brightspace will allow pieces of video to be embedded within it. You'll be able to connect through it. We can always use Google Hangouts, but the requirements for all of that will also be changing. All of the programs that were purchased, I believe, except for maybe one of them, are actually adaptive. And so they assess as the student goes and the curriculum shifts to where the child needs to be. And so that differentiation piece was one of the keys that we were looking for to make sure if we couldn't see them in person all the time, what could actually fill in the gap. And then the two other things that sort of are in the works as well are just thinking about when we do create the schedules we'll be using for the fall, how can we be more creative about mental health connections? We're not necessarily thinking it'll only be certain groups of students, and then nobody, if we are able to do in person, then nobody else will be able to attend. Sometimes it might be important for certain students in smaller groups to attend because of something that's going on with them, or if they're a student who's in our life skills program, that's a very different need than a student in our regular education program. And so we have some creative ideas around how to better support students in various scenarios also sort of happening. And then finally, the delegation of this work amongst all staff. So I think that's already happened through everybody doing the professional development, regardless of what they teach, and just starting to spread the message that it's going to be more all hands on deck atmosphere. Just because if we are in person, with hand washing that needs to take place and longer lunches, if things need to get delivered, there's just there will be a lot less instructional time in the day. And so people are going to need to be helping out in ways that they're just not used to. And I think we have an excellent staff. We talk about them all the time. And to a person, the feedback I got about the professional development so far was, I don't teach any of these things. Thank you so much for giving us these supports now so we can start thinking about how our role might shift over the summer. So, none of the feedback I've received so far, because I did survey staff at the end of the professional development, was, why am I doing this? That's not at all what we're receiving. It's great. Now I understand better how I might be able to help, which is wonderful. So I just wanted to share those because those seemed like crucial pieces to where we've moved already with the recommendations we received. And then I'll just open it up for comments, further questions that you had about, either what I've just shared or the slides that I shared last time and in the board packet.
Any questions of Katie?
I do. I have some questions.
Great.
First of all, nice job, Katie. I mean, to have that your committee pulled this together so quickly is just super appreciative, because I know I pressed for it in one of our meetings, and thanks for pulling it off.
It was a really helpful group.
One of the questions on number 14, I want to get your sense of now that you've met with teachers. I'm just looking at this pie chart. 14% of teachers reported that only 14% of students participated between.
Sorry, can I just ask you a quick question? So are you on recommendation number 14 or slide number 14?
Oh, sorry. I'm with your handout. Once the model for school is designed, ensure fair delegation. Staff survey.
Okay. I'm on the right spot. Okay, got it. Thanks.
Okay. Sorry. So obviously this was a test run, but from the teacher's standpoint, those who responded, 14% of students, all students, participated 80 to 100% of the time on remote distance learning. Is the sense now with these guidelines that teachers feel that will go up? Are you feeling optimism from them?
I think so, because we'll be doing different things very differently, like taking attendance every single day, giving grades that are actually grades, having students have to make up work if they miss it. And so the accountability will be totally different. And I know that was one of the reasons teachers guessed, sort of had folks slide off at the end. A student they might have seen in the beginning, but not towards the end, is, some kids aren't internally motivated and need those external motivations. And so we'll make sure that they're in place this time, both because we need them, because could be who knows what the whole year could look like, something that's a hybrid model of something. And so we just need to be ready for, what everybody keeps saying the new normal is. But I think secondly, we have a lot of students who are motivated by those things. And so I suspect that participation will go up, because it will not be this thing we're doing for the rest of the year to get by. It will just be, this is what school is.
Thank you.
Sure.
Katie, when we're looking at scheduling, is it at all possible to be able to see, is there any way to stagger with families that have multi-grades in their family, so they can have a chance to all have the ability to connect with the meeting each day, different times, grades? Is there, I know that's so complex, but is there any ability?
Yeah, no, that's a really good piece of feedback. Making sure we don't put everything at the same time every day will be helpful to families. So yeah, we can definitely do that. Thank you.
I had one more quick thing. I promise it's quick. And then as you move forward, rolling this out, if we have to, the other thing I was just thinking, and this is really directed to the rest of the board too, is what we can all do to help roll this out to get buy-in. I think our response from parents were very fair and often very positive, but I think those responses were based on this experience. When you look at all the comments, people are really, I think, nervous about the prospect of doing this again, no matter how great we roll something out. So I just think it's a great opportunity for us to show a lot of support and positivity, and maybe get the PTAs on board to help us in, lessening kind of the fear or concern. Because, I think that's very real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I also think having the PTAs help, have all of you help, making sure our teachers fully understand the plan. So if a parent needs support, that they can explain it as well. And then I think, unfortunately, there's probably going to be, some comfort in numbers. We won't be the only district that's doing some version. I know, Patrick has talked a lot about, making sure, and I know he does this all the time, constantly reaching out to 75 and Brunswick and Wiscasset and all the areas around us to make sure we're in line with one another. And so I think part of it will be making sure that, we're doing what we believe, but also what seems to be in line with our whole area as best we can.
Thank you. Right.
I just had a couple of comments. I mean, one, it is interesting to me, the differences in perception and how much work students are assigned, or what the expectation is of their workload. Differences between what teachers think they're accomplishing, what parents observe, and what kids say they're actually putting in. I mean, those are kind of stark differences sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of in a comment or a question, I guess, as much, just to kind of moves in the same direction that Lorna's comment was. What are we doing? How can we get this information out to the public? Have you posted this on our website, or should there be a narrative summary? I'm not looking for ways to give you more work, Katie.
It's already on the website.
Okay.
Yeah. So the PowerPoint, as well as all the survey data, is on a website that's different than the one that the district looked at. He kind of cleaned it up because there was a lot of stuff that he and I created with notes on it that wouldn't necessarily make sense to people who hadn't attended the meetings. But that's already posted on our website. So in terms of when it goes out, I'm assuming there will be various methods of a larger blast that goes out as soon as we sort of start to narrow things down, to plan, to share with folks what our plan is and, all the steps we took to get there. And so we just haven't sent it out officially yet, because I think it would be hard to send that without necessarily the next steps also being defined.
If we when we have the plan for next year, I mean, putting these findings in context with
Yes.
what we plan to
Right.
go forward certainly makes sense. So
Right. I mean, I'm imagining, and Patrick and I haven't talked about this yet, other than the fact that we want to make sure we're being totally transparent with everybody in the community, and also thankful for all the feedback we got that helped us get better and new ideas about things. But, we'll obviously have some sort of overview letter that communicates things. And just like we have with various things we sent out this spring, live links, and I'm imagining one of them will explain the processes we went through, the different committees, including this one, the building-based ones the teachers just did, the larger one we're currently doing with, fire and police and whatnot. And that would all be explained in a letter with links to all the material for everything that people can access.
Okay. Thanks, Katie.
Sure. Anything else?
Where you said it's on the website, the RSU1 website?
Yes, it should be. I can check right now.
Yeah, I don't want to belabor it, but I don't see it unless it's under documents or something somewhere. So someone can just email it to me.
Oh,
At some
yeah.
point.
It was supposed to be on our COVID page that has all the stuff that we've been sending out. So let me just find that.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, while I'm looking for it, any other questions?
Any other questions for Katie? We'll be revisiting the findings and observations out of this survey from this committee in the context of the district reopening advisory team work. So we're going to move on to that. Katie will. Did you find it on the
I'm
website?
on the COVID page, and no, Lorna's right. Now I don't know where it is.
I have not seen it, but then I don't go.
Okay, I'm going to send Bob an email right now. I've seen the actual finished product. He just maybe didn't post it today. That's all, but it is done.
Yeah, it is.
If it's not there right now, somewhere where I can't find it, it will be there by the morning.
Okay, it is important. I think we want to keep that communication going with the community.
Of course.
Thank you.
Sure.
So let's move on to 9.3, Patrick, the district reopening advisory team.
Yeah, the district committee has met twice. Third time will be this Friday morning. And just to give a update, the first meeting reviewed some documents. One was the CDC school decision-making tree. And then the other one were considerations and assumptions that came from the San Diego Public Schools, just to get everybody on the same page, try to get their assumptions out there and considerations. We did share, obviously the 4 kind of options with the committee. One is all students back with health and safety precautions. The second one would be some grade levels in person and others doing distance learning. The third one would be a hybrid model where you might go to school 50% of a week and then you would be distance learning 50%, or you might go 20%, which is basically 1 day a week. So again, and then the fourth option is just distance learning. And again, we're trying to look through all of these options through the lens, again, priorities of health and safety, student learning, and then family situations as far as daycare and being sensitive to that as well. So then at the second meeting we had last week, we kind of dove into the CDC considerations for schools around health and safety. And not to bore you with all the details, but it's very helpful to have nursing staff on this meeting and Dr. Hanner as well. So we talked about, what's optimal for hand washing, social distancing, the cloth face coverings, cleaning, shared objects, ventilation, model layouts, just all of those things that you can think of, visitors, field trips for the fall. And so we went through that. We're not done with that list by any means. We're going to revisit it this Friday. And the other thing that, thanks to Bob Jordan and Katie, we did feel like it was a good idea to send a simple survey to parents that basically is asking them 2 questions. Would you send your child back to school with the appropriate precautionary measures that we're going to take? And then the second question is just asking them what specific health concerns, safety concerns do they have? and then also sending one to staff that would be a little more in depth and asking them if we were to return in person, what areas, are they most concerned about, and then any ideas or suggestions they might have, in addition to the feedback that we're already getting from the school-based teams. So that's, in a nutshell, that's where we're at right now. We are comparing notes with other districts. We're making calls to the CDC as we need to. We right after, soon we'll be measuring all of our rooms, which we have started already, to find out how many students we could fit into a classroom, what supplies we need to have on hand. Some unintended costs have come up that we didn't think about in some cases. So anyway, there's a lot of you that have been on this committee or you've listened in. So I'll stop there and just see if anybody wants to add anything at this point.
No, I think it's a really good committee, and it's great to have such a diverse group of folks who, especially the medical professionals, and everyone's trying to think outside the box, and it's great to see that happening. So I really appreciate the committee.
I'll tell you, I've listened in on the first two meetings, and it is a daunting task. There are things that we'll make it. There's no question of that. But it is going to be a Herculean task to identify all issues that have to be addressed, get resources where we need to get them, and to launch the school year next year.
Well, right, and I think it's the other factor though is it's an ever-changing field from did little kids wear masks? Well, no, it doesn't look like they should because of that. It's like every time there's some new discovery as to what's going on out there. So it's a changing field, and I know the goal is we should come to some decision by the end of July, right?
Correct.
And and who knows, then what'll happen in August, and we're still just dependent on what the state ultimately says we can do. So I think, given all that, I'm really, again, just really impressed with everyone's determination that we're gonna, have as many scenarios as possible ready to go.
None of that makes it any less daunting.
No, it
The level
doesn't.
of
No, it
detail
doesn't.
it can't be underestimated. But I think I've been really impressed with how positively people are approaching just making it happen and doing their best. So we will get it done.
I'll echo Steve. I had a massive headache after listening, not from the efforts you people are trying to, it's impressive what everyone's willing and trying to do and figure out to get us back. But my worry too is, we have a whole summer of people doing various levels of compliance. And so to expect our students to come back with all these guidelines, I worry for them, I worry for the staff. And it doesn't mean that we won't do it. If we need to go back, we'll do it. But after a whole summer of relative freedom for some families, it will be a big step. So that's where we're, getting the pulse of the community and making sure they're on board. Going back isn't normal. I think that's the thing that people need to hear is, everyone wants everyone to go back, but it's not going to look normal. So we'll just do our best and make it look as normal as possible. But I echo Steve. I just felt overwhelmed listening to what you had to work through.
Yep. Any other comments? No. Okay. Thanks.
Bob just emailed me back just to go back to our other conversation, and he's going to get it posted tonight. So
okay.
It is done, and it will be up on the COVID part of our website tonight.
Oh, great.
So when I look it wasn't that I didn't find it. It wasn't.
No, and I can send you the link to the part of the website it will be on. So if you guys check it in the morning, you should be all set.
It's more important, I think, that the public understands that the information's there and have the opportunity to view it. So
Exactly.
there, we'll get it out. So thank you very much, Katie,
Sure.
and thank you, Patrick, and thank that committee for the work they're doing. Okay, if no other comments on this, it's a work in progress. We'll be talking about this for the next couple of months for sure. Item 10.0, Superintendent's Report. 10.1, Patrick, good news.
Yeah, I mean, Steve mentioned the graduation. I just want to echo, I mean, we had at the Wiscasset Airport on June 13th, we had 121 diplomas that were awarded. And, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Eric, Devin, Nate, and Lauren, our new secretary of the high school, and really all the staff that volunteered their time to help out on that day or preparing for that day. Also, support from the city of Bath PD, Saginaw Sheriff's Department, town of Wiscasset, and the airport personnel. They couldn't have been nicer, as well as the Alumni Association that was there handing out gifts to students. The ceremony was well done. First of all, it was safe. The speaker system worked well, and it was broadcasted on people's car radios, so you had options. And I thought the cars were in fairly close proximity, and also at the last minute, we felt we needed to have a bigger stage, because our stage, if you know at McMahon, is only probably maybe a foot high. And with people in their cars, Devin and Eric just said, can we get something better? But it was Friday and graduation was on Saturday. And so the city of Bath has their portable stage, which I didn't know they had, but at this point they just weren't using it. So they were kind enough to come over and set that up, break it down. And it really made a big difference that day. So parents could see their children, get the diploma. So it made it nice. And then just, thank you to all the schools, the PTAs, parents that helped with helping to recognize students at the end of the year remotely. I know it's not the same, but the remote ceremonies that we did to recognize students, as well as the drive-bys that we did to say goodbye to, for example, second graders moving up to third grade, or fifth grade going up to sixth grade. So thank you for that. And then the last two things I just wanted to mention, I think I sent these to you as FYI, as email, but I did want to just mention these so they were in the minutes, is that for this summer, thanks to Katie and to Jamie Dorr, we did receive a $5,000 mini grant to partner with Midcoast Community Alliance to help students this summer through the McKinney-Vento. It was a mini grant for that piece. And then also the bigger grant was that 21st Century Learning Centers grant. And again, that was between the skate park and Bath Middle School. And we are receiving grant for year one is $146,000. And that should start next year if everything goes right. And then every year after that, for the next 4 years, it goes down approximately $5,000, but it's still a good chunk of money. Katie, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I also want to add that the collaborative that we used to be involved with for McKinney-Vento students that involved 75 Brunswick and Tedford were actually, it opened up again, and we are applying for that as well. So 75 will be 75 RSU1 and MCA who will be putting in for being able to support students both through using Donna Verhoeven as our consultant, some tutoring, and lots of other mental health support. So that's exciting as well. So hopefully this time around, we'll be able to receive funding from that grant, and that would be 3 years.
So for the
And
BAP,
as a
go ahead, Jen.
clarification for the public, McKinney-Vento, like we talk about it, but that's mostly for our homeless students.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
And for the Bath Middle School one that I just mentioned, it's really programming for around 70 students, grades 6 through 8. That would happen at the skate park. And our idea is that it would be 4 days a week for 2.5 hours after school for like 36 weeks. And so it's really creating a culture of mattering, ensuring each student feels significant and finds success through youth leadership and mentoring is one part of it, and having caring adults there. And the other component, well, there's many components. I mean, there's a STEAM component to it as well, but improving academic performance through student enrichment and working with high quality people at the skate park. So it's very exciting for us. I mean, we've been trying to get this. Last year. We missed it by just a little bit. And again, it's Bath Middle School because of their free and reduced. And if we can extend that to Woolwich, at their middle school a year out, then we're going to keep pushing for that. But again, I did send Jamie a thank you note on behalf of the board, just because it's been a great collaboration, and it just helps a lot of RSU1 students. That's all I have.
Good. Thanks, Patrick. Can I know this doesn't quite fit with the theme, but Katie, just quickly update us on the homeless youth. I mean, just a quick editorial comment maybe on how you think the remote learning and this COVID shutdown has affected homeless kids.
Well, I think I haven't gotten any new paperwork for students who are housing unstable. So I can say, like many things, there aren't new students that we know of. However, I think the problem is if you don't have a stable home, you don't necessarily have a stable connection with school. And so I'm not sure about new cases. I know for those that were previously identified as McKinney-Vento, would have been contacted like all the other students, where we went student by student in every one of our schools to ensure that they had a connection either with guidance or teachers or someone, and actually had a list of those who were not contacted. And so those numbers are similar regardless of what the student's current situation is. And then obviously, the main supports that we are providing are transportation, which isn't needed if you're not going to school. And then our food nutrition program was ongoing. And so they were continuing to get support through that. So I feel like I don't have much to share other than that.
Okay, thanks. I know it just came up in my mind again, when you mentioned the grant. So
Yeah.
Again.
I think one of the key things to think about could be, and this is not necessarily our responsibility, but just in understanding students, is a lot of homeless students get housing through couch surfing, and
Right.
couch surfing is staying with friends. And right now, because our homes aren't open the way they have been in the past, I'm really worried that these children don't even have a couch surfing opportunity. And we don't have teenage homeless shelters, and we've tried. There's a lot of issues around that, and we're in desperately need of more opportunities, specifically that are safe and geared towards homeless teenagers. But it's a challenge for all housing folks. But I think not having couch surfing is one of the most dangerous things for these kids.
And it would really depend on if they were able to stay in the bubble of the person that they were in prior to COVID, sort of becoming more of an issue. But you're right, because of our population of homeless students, the largest percentage of them are actually doubled up. That's what's reported to me. And so, I mean, I know that MCA and Donna, Jamie have been working to connect with all the students that regularly go there, driving to wherever they're staying. And so we're trying our hardest, but that doesn't mean we're able to connect with every student still. So these funds will definitely help. So a lot of the different pieces of this grant are even just bringing, hygiene supplies, food for when it's not covered, by school. And so, I think that would be really helpful to families if we're able, Donna's mileage for when she's driving around to all these different places, or getting students to their appointments or court dates or whatnot. And so that's what much of this funding is for.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well, let's hope. we're able to secure it and we can keep it going. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Patrick. Thanks, Katie. 10.2, Deb, are you out there? Financial report?
I am here. I'll shift gears and go on to, all the numbers. Tonight we're looking at the month of May. And so we're nearing the end. We've spent close to $28 million of our almost $34 million budget. We have about $4 million encumbered in funds, and that is basically all payroll, and you'll see that disappear in the month of June. I just processed the final payroll, which is a lump sum. So during the month of June, we actually have 6 payrolls posted to that month. We're still hoping for a larger than normal ending balance because we have the savings in field trips and supplies, officials, transportation for those outside placements and homeless people. And so that's what we're hoping for, a little bit more than normal because we've used that in our beginning balance for 2021. And then as far as revenues, everything's coming in. We're just a little bit short on student activity revenue, but other than that, everything should be close to where we had projected. So I think we're where we expect to be.
Hey, thanks, Deb. Any questions of Deb on the financial report? No? Okay, thanks, Deb.
Okay.
Don't go too far.
All right, I won't.
11.0, new business. Patrick, we have a resignation.
Yes, one resignation, which is Nina Willette, who's our Dean of Students at Woolwich. And we're certainly sorry to see her go, but she's accepted a position teaching principal at Georgetown School. So, it's been, the position's been advertised, and I think it closes I think it closed last Friday. So Jason and a team will start looking at those applications fairly soon.
Okay, thanks, Patrick. Thanks. Okay, 12.0. So we are entering uncharted waters here, and as a result of the governor's emergency declarations, and at our last board meeting, we agreed that it was not either prudent or practical to conduct our on the budget as we have over the last many years, I guess. So the town hall meeting format that the RSU uses to get public input and to make final modifications to the budget before it goes for the budget referendum vote has been suspended this year. And in its place, we are conducting this public hearing on the FY'21 budget articles, school budget referendum questions, and bond referendum question. There isn't going to be any votes taken. We have already advanced the budget, but I would like, for the record, and for those individuals who are from the community who might be following us tonight, to really go through these questions with Patrick's support and Deb's support, and get them entered into the record. So it's going to take us a little while, but I think in the spirit of transparency and putting as much information out there for the public, I would like to take a few extra minutes, I guess, to make sure that everyone understands what we're doing with this budget and what we are asking the voters to approve on July 14th. So I'm going to just read the notice of the public hearing. Regional School Unit 1, notice of public hearing. the 2020-2021 budget and minor capital bond. And this goes to Deborah Clark, a resident of Regional School Unit Number 1, the Regional School Unit, composed of the City of Bath and the towns of Rouseck, Phippsburg, and Woolwich, State of Maine. In the name of the State of Maine, you are hereby required to notify the voters of each of the municipalities within the Regional School Unit, namely City of Bath and the towns of Rouseck, Phippsburg, and Woolwich, that a Regional School Unit public hearing will be held by remote participation at 6 o'clock on June 22nd, 2020, for the purpose of public participation in and receipt of public comment on the proposed 2020-2021 school budget and on the referendum question set forth below. Pursuant to Title I, Section 304A of the Maine Revised Statutes, the school board has determined that the hearing will be conducted by remote means and may be accessed by the public as follows. To access the remote public hearing, or to participate, provide comment or input, follow the instructions to access and participate in the public hearing as provided on the Regional School Unit number 1 website at www.rsu1.org. The following questions will be considered at the Regional School Unit number 1 budget and minor capital bond referendum election to be held on July 14, 2020. Question 1. The school budget. Shall Regional School Unit number 1 appropriate the sum of $37,866,970 and raise the sum of $18,704,558 for the 2020-2021 school budget? The school board recommends a yes vote. Each of the cost centers is listed below, and Deb sent out a management summary of the RSU1 budget articles to us this week. So I'm just going to read. I think we've decided this, Deb. I hope I'm going to read the article, and then Deb will just give a brief description of what the article addresses. So question 1 on the ballot is the total of Articles 1 through 10. Article 1 is to see what sum the Regional School Unit will be authorized to expend for regular instruction. The recommendation is $11,841,750. Deb, you wanna...
So this cost center is up 0.71% from last year. Regular instruction is the largest expenditure article of all those presented and accounts for salary and benefits for regular classroom teachers as well as supplies.
Article 2, to see what sum the Regional School Unit will expend for special education. The recommendation is $6,295,027.
This cost center is increasing by 6.83% this year. The budget provides for 4 ed tech positions in lieu of contracted behavioral health providers with a private firm. Salary and benefits for the special education staff, outside tuition placements, and individual treatment expenses are included in this cost center.
Article 3, to see what sum the Regional School Unit will be authorized to expend for career and technical education. The recommendation is $1,546,080.
This cost center is up 0.45% from last year. New additions to this cost center include the addition of a half-time career exploration program and increased hours for the administrative assistant to make that position full-time. Necessary costs to support the 9 BRCTC programs are included in this article. The programs are carpentry, drafting, electrical repair, commercial art, health occupations, culinary arts, early childhood, automotives, and welding.
Article 4, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend in other instruction. And recommendation is $759,990.
This cost center is increasing by 7.14% this year. The cost center includes funding for co-curricular programs in all of our schools and athletic programs at, excuse me, Bath Middle School, Woolwich Central, and Morse. Costs for coaches, officials, field trips, and admission fees are reflected throughout this category. The increase this year is due to a co-curricular musical program at Morse High School, which was covered in the instruction cost center last year. The addition of an indoor track coach at Morse High School also contributes to the increase.
Article 5 is to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for student and staff support. Recommendation is $2,977,413.
This cost center covers funding for 6 areas: guidance, health, technology, improvement of instruction, library, and student assessment. The cost center is actually a decrease this year, and is because new literacy materials for K-5 reading curriculum were purchased this current year, 1920, and they've been removed from this budget.
Article 6, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for system administration. The recommendation is $609,906.
This cost center is actually up 0.19%, and it includes the Office of the Superintendent, Central Services Business Office, and expenses for the Board of Education, such as fees for auditors, attorneys, insurances, election expenses, and a contribution to the district-wide communication initiatives.
Okay. Article 8, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for transportation. The recommendation is $1,444,925.
I think you missed Article 7.
Oh, I'm sorry, Article 7. I apologize. Article 7, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for school administration. The recommendation is $1,773,557.
This cost center is up 1.35%, includes funds to operate the office of the principal in all of our schools, salary and benefits for the principals and secretaries, as well as amounts for staff development, postage, copier costs, telephone, supplies, and dues and fees are included.
Okay, now on to Article 8, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for transportation. The recommendation is $1,444,925.
This cost center is increasing 3.43% this year and includes the Bath bus service contract, repairs, maintenance, and insurance for our district maintenance vehicles. Funds are also included in this cost center to cover out-of-district transportation that may be needed throughout the year for our students.
Article 9, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for facilities maintenance. The recommendation is $3,327,671.
This cost center is decreasing by $34,253 this year. And the main reason is the portion of the local debt service for state-funded projects, Woolwich and Morse High School, has been moved to the debt service cost center for a recommendation from the Department of Education. The non-state funded debt service remains in this cost center as well as general operating.
And Article 10, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for debt service. The recommendation is $7,290,652.
There is an increase of $3,851,907 this year, and it's because of the full obligation for the new Morse BRCTC debt. We will be receiving $3,437,261 more in state subsidy to cover the cost of this debt service payment. That's in the revenue side. The article covers principal and interest expenses for the state-supported addition to the Warwick Central School as well.
Thanks, Deb. So those 10 articles constitute question 1 on the ballot. The ballot will also include additional questions. Question 2, shall the regional school unit number 1 raise and appropriate $215,000 for the school nutrition program with authorization to expend any additional, incremental, incidental, or miscellaneous receipts in the interest and for the well-being of the school nutrition program. The board recommends a yes vote.
This cost center is decreasing by $10,000 this year. This locally shared contribution to the food service program is to help close the gap between revenues and program expenses. We are no longer operating with a deficit in this fund and continually try to increase participation in our breakfast and lunch programs.
Question 3 on the ballot will be, shall regional school unit number 1 raise and appropriate $73,569 for the adult education program with authorization to expend any additional, incidental, or miscellaneous receipts in the interest and for the well-being of the adult education program. The board again recommends a yes vote.
RSU1 adult education has consolidated with Mary Meeting Adult Education along with Brunswick and Topsom. We will raise $73,569 as our local share. The remainder of the adult education budget comes from tuition, fees, subsidy, and contributions from Brunswick and Topsom.
Question 4 on the ballot refers to capital reserve funds. Shall the school board be authorized to raise $50,000 for the previously established capital reserve fund and expend the funds if necessary? The school board recommends a yes vote.
These funds are raised separately and set aside for major facility repairs that may need to be addressed in the future. With this allocation, we will have a balance of $140,504 after spending $216,037 for the following upgrades during the 1920 school year: Dyke Knoll steam to hot water exchange, gas conversion project at Bath Middle School, and abatement and flooring the Pittsburgh gym.
Okay, and the final question on the ballot is question 5. Do you favor authorizing the school board of regional school unit number 1, the RSU, to issue bonds and other evidences of indebtedness in the name of the RSU in an amount not to exceed $365,327 through the state of Maine's zero interest rate / loan forgiveness school revolving renovation fund program for priority 1 health, safety, and compliance renovations related to the conversion from steam to hot water heat and abatement at Dyke Knoll School in Bath. The project. A, zero interest loan forgiveness program with The Maine Department of Education has awarded the RSU a loan in the amount of $365,327 through the state's zero interest rate loan forgiveness school revolving renovation fund program for the project. The loan principal forgiveness, the Maine Municipal Bond Bank will forgive approximately 51.06% up to an estimated $188,536 of the total approved loan amount. And C, interest-free loan, the RSU will be obligated to repay approximately 48.94% up to an estimated $178,791 of the total approved loan amount over a 5-year term. The Municipal Bond Bank has agreed to lend funds and permit repayment at zero interest. The school board recommends a yes vote. So those are the 5 questions that will be on the ballot for voter consideration on July 14th, Tuesday, July 14th. I've said before, I believe that we're putting forward a responsible budget. At this point, I want to thank the Finance Committee and the board for their diligence in looking at the budget, taking additional reductions where we felt that they were warranted and could be supported, and hopefully the community and the voters at large will feel that this is a budget and other questions that they can support. I talked to Patrick, and I think Patrick mentioned in some of his comments that we're going to ask Lindsay to get some press out there. I'll call it press, but some descriptive materials, both on the website and maybe use other social media outlets or media platforms to get information out to the public. Again, we recognize that we've lost the opportunity to engage the public by having to put off the town meeting. We'll be back at it again next year, but given circumstances, we felt that this was the best way to proceed with the budget and get it out to the vote. So, yes, Jen, you have a comment? Yeah.
Yes, just a comment. So if Lindsay can get that information out as quickly as possible, because as a resident of Woolwich, I've already voted on this with absentee.
Yeah.
So the absentee ballots are out there. They're in the hands of the public. They're trying to make these decisions. And there's enough on this warrant with a number of different items that I would hope everyone would understand the importance of each one. And that, even though we're so accustomed to understanding the descriptions that Deb read to us now, I just hope that there maybe Lindsay's able to help facilitate some more understanding around that.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, Jim. Good point.
Yeah, I second that for Jen. There's a lot of absentee voting going on already. And the more information we get out, the sooner it'll be able to be studied and utilized in making people's decisions.
Yeah, we have a meeting with her at 8:30 in the morning, and we have a couple stories we want her to do, but this is the priority. So I would think it would be hopefully done in the next couple of days at the latest. So we'll put a priority on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the biggest area of confusion could be with the multiple questions on the ballot. Because most those things are built into this budget, but I don't know if it's entirely clear when you first read the ballot. So yeah, that would be helpful.
Okay. Yep. Thanks for all your comments on that. We'll get his information out as quickly as we can. And remember, I don't need to remind you, you're all out in the community too, and this is an opportunity to talk up the budget. So, okay. Closing the public hearing, and let's move on to item 313. This is an action item. We have in our packet a revised school calendar. Patrick, you want to?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very minor change, but because the board does approve the calendar and you did in the spring, wanted to bring it back for hopefully your approval tonight. Is just with the unknowns for the fall and the what ifs that exist right now, that we just feel like our staff could benefit from more, more time to prepare for the fall, regardless if it's, remote learning or if it's a hybrid or whatever, everybody in. So all we basically did was take the October 9th Professional Development Day and the March 19th Professional Development Day and move them to the beginning of the school year, September 3 and 4. So we met with the association. They support this. I think for parents, the biggest thing is that, and sometimes we get criticized for this, but, with this new calendar, we're not bringing kids back before Labor Day. It's the Tuesday after Labor Day, which, I don't think we haven't heard any concerns or complaints about that. Plus, it provides our staff with more time, to help figure out this situation and plan in the fall. So that's really the only change. So we still have the same amount of PD days, same amount of student days.
Thanks, Patrick. Any questions on that, for Patrick?
We need a motion on it, or just?
We do.
Yeah,
Okay.
we need a
I'll
motion.
move approval.
We have a motion by Bill, second.
I'll second.
Second by Megan. Okay, I get to call the roll. Anita,
Aye.
Lorna,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Megan,
Aye.
Lou,
Lou.
on the calendar. Are you there? Just stick your thumb up if you can hear us. No.
Yeah.
Thumb up, Lou.
Aye.
Okay. I vote aye. Tanner.
Aye.
Thank you. So the calendar is modified, adopted as modified. Article 14.0, we need to approve the superintendent's contract for 2021, and as has been our practice, in approving the contract for the next year, we also extend the contract for one additional year. So what the motion would be is to approve the superintendent's contract for 2021, and to extend the contract until 2022-23. Could I have such a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Bill, second by Jennifer. Call the roll. Anita,
Aye.
Lorna,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Megan,
Aye.
Lou. Thumbs up. I vote aye. Tanner,
Aye.
thank you very much. Welcome aboard, Patrick.
Thank you.
15, item 15.0. This is again another action item, and again, I think Lorna is the only new member we have at this point, but it has been our practice to authorize the superintendent to hire staff over the summer on our behalf, so that now it's been typically we've done that largely because we haven't met in July. It seems likely we will meet in July, but I think for expedience sake, to allow Patrick to move forward to fill those unanticipated vacancies that might come up at the last minute, it's probably still good practice for us. So can I have a motion to authorize the superintendent to hire staff? over the summer on the board's behalf.
Move such authorization.
Motion by Bill, second.
I'll second.
Second by Megan. Any discussion? I didn't do discussion last time. I'll do discussion this time. Any discussion? I apologize.
We don't have many openings. I think we have a handful right now. And again, it would just be teaching or administrative positions. And again, I'll send you backup to let you know who we're employing and their educational background and their work experience.
I think that's all I was wondering is if we would still, at some point in the summer, especially if we meet in July, would get an update of.
Yeah, so I'd give you an update of when we hire people and tell you who's on the interviewing, how many people are on the interviewing committee and how many people we interviewed and the person's credentials. And then usually in August, I wait till August just to let you know for support staff and for any transfers in the district and kind of give you a list of those as well. So you can help you keep track as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If not, Anita. So we have a motion by Bill, second by Megan to authorize Patrick to do it hiring through the summer. Anita,
Aye.
Lorna,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Megan,
Aye.
Lou. Thumbs up. I vote aye. Tana.
I vote aye as well.
Okay, thank you. That passes. Our next meeting dates and locations, item 16.0. 16.1, we have the budget validation referendum on Tuesday, July 14th at your town halls and for Bath, I think at the middle school. As I think both Bill and Jennifer both commented, and Lorna I think alluded to as well, there's a lot of absentee ballots being requested and moving out there, but they will be doing that on-site voting at those locations on that date. I don't think we're in a position right now to set a time and a date for our next board meeting, but again, I would go back to my comments at the beginning of this meeting, and I think as Patrick continues to work with the district reopening advisory team with an expectation that by the end of July they'll be ready to make some recommendations and proposals to the board. It's my understanding that we will have to meet to vote to consider and vote to accept that report or whatever modifications we recommend to that report. So that will be an action. That is not something that administratively we can just put in place. There's going to have to be a board vote on that. So there's every likelihood that we'll be seeing each other sometime in July or early August, depending on the timing of that report. That's it. I can't say any more in terms of my expression of thanks to our faculty, to the administrators, to you as board members, to the community for working through this very difficult march through June so far, and I have a feeling that we have more to come. So we'll persevere. We're resilient. The kids are enormously resilient. We have to remember that. So we will persevere, and we'll do the best that we can with the cards that are dealt. So with that, I don't think there's any more business. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
We have a motion by Lorna, second
Second.
by Bill. All right, here goes the roll. Anita,
Aye.
Lorna,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Megan,
Aye.
Lou? Thumbs up. I vote aye. Tanner?
Aye.
Okay, aye. Thank you very much.
Stay healthy, everybody.
Rest of the evening.
Thank you.
We're glad that Bill and Jennifer stayed with us. That's good.